Have you ever helped someone and they never even said thank you? Have you ever given your time, your energy, even your money, only for people to come back asking for more? If you've ever felt used, unappreciated, or emotionally drained, this story might change the way you see kindness forever. But before we begin, ask yourself one question. Are you kind, or are you simply afraid to say no? Stay with this story until the end, because the lesson might be something many good people learn too late. Many kind people eventually face a painful truth. Being good doesn't always protect you. Sometimes, it makes you an easy target. You say yes, even when your heart is screaming no. You help even when you are exhausted. You give your time, your energy, your effort, until there is nothing left. But instead of appreciation, some people simply expect more. They take your kindness as something normal, something they deserve. And the moment you finally say no, they call you selfish. They say you've changed. But here's the truth. Being kind does not mean sacrificing yourself for everyone. Kindness is beautiful. But without awareness and boundaries, it can slowly turn into a trap that drains your energy, your peace, and your life. So remember this thought as we begin the story. What if kindness without wisdom is actually dangerous? Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a man named Ethan. Ethan was known as the kindest man in the entire village. If someone needed help fixing their roof, Ethan was there. If someone needed money, Ethan would lend it. If someone needed someone to listen, Ethan would sit with them for hours. People often said, "Ethan is such a wonderful man, always helping everyone." Those words made Ethan feel proud. He believed that his kindness gave his life meaning. He believed that if he was good to everyone, life would naturally be good to him. But slowly something began to change. Deep inside, Ethan started feeling tired. Every night he collapsed into bed, completely exhausted. His body was heavy, his mind was restless, and he often asked himself a question he could not answer. If I help everyone, why do I feel so empty? But Ethan didn't yet realize something important. His endless giving was slowly taking away his energy, his time, and his peace. One day, Ethan finally noticed something that had been happening for years. People had started seeing his kindness as something ordinary, something automatic. His neighbor, Mr. Collins, frequently asked Ethan to fix things around the house. Ethan had repaired the roof, the door, the fence, the garden. But Mr. Collins rarely said thank you. Instead, every time Ethan finished one job, another request appeared, as if helping was simply Ethan's responsibility. And it wasn't just neighbors. Ethan had a friend named David. David often borrowed money from him each time he promised he would return it, but the money never came back. Months passed. Then one day, Ethan gently asked about the money. David suddenly became defensive. "What? I thought we were friends." Friends don't keep track of things like that. That moment felt like a knife in Ethan's heart. He gave and gave and gave. Yet somehow, he was the one made to feel guilty. Slowly, Ethan realized something painful. People had become comfortable receiving from him, but very few ever thought about giving back. His kindness, instead of being valued, had become an expectation. And that was the moment Ethan understood something had to change. But how? One evening, while sitting quietly beside a river, Ethan looked completely broken. An old traveling merchant happened to pass by. He sat beside Ethan and said something surprising. "You look like a man who gives everything, but receives nothing." Ethan looked up in shock. "How did you know?" The merchant smiled gently. "Because I've seen this story many times." Ethan opened his heart and explained everything. The exhaustion, the disappointment, the feeling of being used. The old merchant listened carefully and then said something that changed Ethan's life. "Kindness without wisdom can destroy you." Ethan frowned. "But helping people is the right thing to do, isn't it?" The merchant nodded. "Yes, but not everyone deserves your help. If you help everyone, your help becomes worthless. If you are always available, people stop valuing your time. And if you never say no, people stop respecting your yes." Those words hit Ethan deeply. The merchant continued, "Be kind, but be strategic. Help, but choose who. Give, but protect yourself. Your kindness is a gift. Don't waste it on people who don't appreciate it." If you're still watching this, remember this moment, because this is where everything changed. The next morning, Ethan tried something he had never done before. He said no. When Mr. Collins knocked on his door asking for help fixing the fence again, Ethan took a deep breath. "I'm sorry," he said calmly. "I need to rest today." Mr. Collins was shocked. "What? But you always help." Ethan replied gently, "I've helped many times, but you never once asked if I needed help." Then he closed the door. His hands were shaking. But inside, something new appeared. Freedom. A few days later, David asked to borrow money again. This time, Ethan simply said no. David became angry. "You've changed." Ethan smiled softly. "You're right, I have. I'm still kind, but I'm no longer kind to people who don't respect my kindness." For the first time in years, Ethan felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted from his soul. Something unexpected began happening in the village. At first, some people were upset. They didn't like that Ethan had boundaries. But slowly, things changed. Mr. Collins no longer gave orders. Instead, he greeted Ethan with respect. David stopped asking for money. People in the village still asked Ethan for help. But now they offered something in return. Money, work, gratitude. And one day, a young farmer named Lucas approached Ethan. "Ethan," he said, "I need help building my barn. But I'll pay you, and I'll help you with anything you need." For the first time in a long time, Ethan saw something rare, respect, and with a smile, he agreed. Helping Lucas felt different, because this time, his kindness was valued. Months later, the old merchant returned to the village. He found Ethan again by the river, but Ethan looked completely different, stronger, peaceful. The merchant smiled. "You've changed." Ethan nodded. "I used to believe being good meant giving everything to everyone. But now I understand something deeper. Real kindness is strategic. It's about helping the right people at the right time in the right way. I'm still kind, but I'm no longer a victim of my own kindness." So if this story feels familiar to you, if you are the person who always helps, the one who always says yes, the one who always gives, remember this lesson. Your kindness is not a weakness, but kindness without boundaries can slowly destroy you. Being good doesn't mean being available to everyone. It doesn't mean saying yes when your heart is screaming no. And it definitely doesn't mean sacrificing yourself for people who don't value you. Real kindness protects your energy. It chooses wisely. It gives to those who appreciate, not those who exploit. And here is the most important message of this story. Be kind, but be kind in a smart way, with clear limits. One person who respects your kindness is worth more than 100 who take advantage of it. If this story made you think or reminded you of someone in your life, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that can change the way we see life. Because sometimes the most powerful lessons come from the simplest stories. And remember, kindness is beautiful, but strategic kindness is powerful.